Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's doing exceptionally well. Hope everybody's enjoying their weekend, getting some chance to relax from the work week. Hope everybody's taking time to recharge the batteries and enjoy some free time doing whatever it is that you like to do. Just want to say thank you again for those who've been tuning in to the channel, www.rebuildingcommunitytrust.org. Once again, that's the website. Please check out the material that's on there. I'm going to do some cleaning up, as always, for the new videos, the material that's coming in. For those who are new, welcome to the Building Community Trust website. This site is dedicated to police reform and the issues of the day involving those in our communities. Advocacy and representation is key to empower those to get out, be aware, and pass on the information and knowledge that's been given. I just want to also say, for those who are also new, Facebook, I got the Rebuilding Community Trust page up. It's so far is getting a lot of attention, and I want those to continue to look on it for any updates as well. I also just uploaded some podcasts to Anchor and Spotify. I want to post those on the page as well. Like all the older videos that I've done, I'm going to go ahead and turn those to all the podcasts for your listening pleasure. This video will also be turned to a podcast. And it'll be posted on the page along with Anchor and Spotify, so you can download those to your MP3 players or your phones. Real quick, I know I commented on the Facebook Live. I'm going to probably shoot for this weekend. That's Saturday, February 22nd. Don't know what time, TBD still. I got to get with the individual that I'm interviewing. We're going to do the debate with, and just make sure, confirm the schedule with him, make sure that we're good to go. But this weekend, I'm shooting for this Saturday, February 22nd. If anything changes, I will put it on the webpage and make a comment. It may be earlier. It just depends on the schedule, but most likely it will be this weekend for the Facebook Live debate. We're going to talk about the Virginia assault rifle ban, and the gun laws being proposed in the Senate, the state Senate. And also going to talk about community policing as a whole, just questions and debate, Q&A. You have time to tune into it. When I announce it, please tune in so we can, address any questions. You can get a good debate. We got a lot of good information we're going to put out. We're going to have some good opinions and good material and facts put out. So please stand by for the times. Again, shooting for this weekend coming up. All right, so I like doing movie reviews, and I'm excited for the stuff that's coming out in the movies. Although this movie's a little older, I didn't have a chance to see it when it was in theaters, but I got a chance to get it on Redbox and watch it. The movie's called Black and Blue. I think the director is Deon Taylor. And watched it, and it was really good. And your typical corruption and your thrillers, your suspense, very good, well done movie. As always, not only the action piece that I get out of it, of course, is entertainment, but I have some points that I saw in the movie that I want to go ahead and address and just kind of talk about a little bit. As always, you got to understand the media is portrayed and is available for not only entertainment, but it has an agenda. So like all the reviews that I do, that I'm going to continue to do, I got actually 2-3 more I'm going to do. We got to think about the media and the agenda that's being put out in these films. You got people's experiences, mindsets, and what they see around, and they make these things into movies. Hollywood plays a role into projecting an agenda that we all see, and we get this mindset, and it paints a picture. Movies are basically art. It's painting a picture of the type of agenda that's being pushed. So we got to keep things in mind as we look at these movies and see what the movie's about. Despite its nonfiction or true story, the agenda is still being pushed. So basically, a few key points: racial division, the overtones, African Americans as police officers. I know I talked about it before. We did Queen Slim. I saw 21 Bridges as well. 21 Bridges is a lot. It's not really as extensive, this movie, but it shows African Americans as police officers. And the biggest thing that I saw in the movie at the beginning, Naomi Harris's character, she played Officer Alicia West. And those who haven't seen it, I'm apologizing in advance. I'm going to spoil it. It's already on Redbox if you're interested. If you have seen it already, you should know what I'm talking about. If not, I'm going to spoil it for you, so go ahead and check it out. And my apologies in advance if you haven't seen it. But one of the biggest things I'm going to point out is that when she addressed one of the youth, and it always is about the youth, it's key to think about our African American youth, not just African Americans, but our youth in general. It doesn't matter what race, really. But when she addressed the youth in the movie, it was already a hesitation from him to speak, not only because of the fear of the police, but also from his mom and I guess for some other individuals that around him at the time. And she off the bat, he was already saying that he thinks the officer stole something from the skateboard he was on, and she wasn't trying to put an agenda that he was stealing. She just wanted normal conversation. She wasn't trying to get nothing out of him, and she wasn't trying to address or start anything. But however, the community trust with police is broken, and you got to think of the setting in the movie. It was in New Orleans. It didn't really say the timeline after Katrina. I know Katrina was a big thing down there, so it kind of degraded a lot of the government and the citizens and the community and a lot of stuff that's down there. So in the setting, it would take place maybe years after Katrina, but we don't really know the setting. But it shows, the police and relationship between citizens and community wasn't good. It shows that in the movie. So it's very typical to understand, and it's very realistic to understand that this is the type of stuff that we're still facing in our communities today. So when addressing the youth and that trust is eroded, that really just says a lot, when it comes to African American officers. And I've seen it with Queen and Slim as well, where, the media is portraying African American officers as Uncle Toms, as, enemies in the community, when, when they actually, people that sign up to be police officers actually want to make a difference, and they want to help the communities, especially if you're from there. I'm assuming she, the character, she was from there, so she left there, went military, went to the army, came back, and she wanted to serve her community in a positive manner, so she came back, and she wasn't well received. So that's just the way it is in our communities today. And being African American in the African American community, you're not, even though the color is the same, it's not received well, because because of the community thinks that these African American cops are just as bad as the white ones, and they're on the same team. And at the end of the day, when the movie plays out, it really shows that at the very end, if you've seen it, that she was trying to do the right thing. So my next point that I saw was interesting was when her partner goes inside to get coffee, and the store owner says, "Hey, where have you been? I had called a burglary over this amount of time, and y'all haven't don't even worry about it because y'all haven't responded." So that's one of the things that erodes community trust with police as well, because if you respond and they actually put faith in officers to do their job and they don't do them, they don't go see about what's going on in the community. They don't go and inquire about, community policing. This is something we're going to talk about, is actually patrolling communities and asking questions and making sure doing welfare checks on these businesses. That erodes trust. So we see that in this film where something was brought up and about a burglary or a robbery, and the officers or whoever didn't respond, or they responded too late. You got your response time should be 10 minutes to 15 minutes, depending on what city you in, and depending on what's the hot areas. That depends on your response time. But apparently they didn't. They came when they needed to come later, and it was like, what's the point? So that erodes the trust. That destroys community trust between citizens and police because of the response time. You call them, they called you, then you should be making actions to come out to take a look and see what's going on. And there's other factors too. It could be, the area. It could be, a lot of different factors of why the police didn't respond. It's not just because they probably didn't. It's just, it could be a lot of reasons. So we just got to look at what, is going on as far as where the area is live, what's hot area, cold areas. There's a lot of different reasons of why they didn't respond. But that's a problem when when an owner or something, a business, a legitimate business wants to get a response, and they don't. Another thing was integrity. Integrity was a big part of this film. Think of Frank Serpico and what he's went through. He whistle blew on corruption, and it was a big deal back in the early 60s, 70s, 80s, whenever this stuff happened. But you gotta look at integrity. Integrity was a big part of this film. And Naomi Harris's character, She was new to the force. She was prior military. She was a veteran. And as military members, we get established that integrity is everything for the most part, and especially if you're serving with in the combat and you're serving with the branches where you're fighting a lot. You establish that integrity. You do the right thing, and not saying that military members don't do not always it's the case that the right thing is being done, but that integrity is there. So when you got someone new, that there's a rookie that's coming on the force and they got this, the integral mindset, they signed up, they believe in what they're doing. That's going to play on, a lot of that, what I'm saying, where if you see something out of line, you see something, you do things by the book, and you have a veteran police officer that's been doing it for a long time. They know how to cut corners, or they think they know best, or they've been doing it for so long, they know how to do it, and they get complacent and they start doing stuff out of line, and you're new. It's like anything else, you're going to think about integrity. You know what I'm saying? You're going to think about just, I'm going to do the right thing when no one's looking. And this is kind of what was seen here, that she, was, everything she did, she worked off her integrity and her morals. And she felt like that she wanted to be, she was so gung-ho on being a change in that community that she grew up in. She wanted to see change, that she was willing to do whatever she needed to do to incorporate that change. When she met resistance, especially when she walked in the warehouse and she saw the one of the youth get shot by one of the narcotics officers or vice officers that was there, that kind of showed, wow, we're police officers. Why are we shooting innocent kids? And it was just a deeper hole which she was drugging into. And you see the reactions of that when she walked up on him and saw that, and then next thing you know, she got shot, and the story went on from there. The body cam. The whole movie, it was about this body cam. The body cam that shown the shooting of one of the characters, the drug dealer characters, the youth, and that body cam have evidence. So that whole movie was pretty much trying to get that body cam back, trying to get that camera back to not have that evidence uploaded to get the officers a caught. So the body camera was established, not too long ago, and is used to have accountability for the officers, not only for themselves, but for the public. So when you had that body cam on and you're supposed to use it, that's what exactly it's going to do. It's going to record the events that happen. That's what you got: dash cams, you got body cams, you got other cameras that are there to record that keep that accountability and responsibility between the officers, more so the officers than the public anyway, so they can say, okay, this happened. So when the body cam showing what was going on, it was on. They was trying to get it because they didn't want the evidence to get out and hold them accountable for what they've done. So that's pretty much that's a true statement. I mean, body cams, that's what they're used for. You know what I'm saying? We have, as officers, you had those on you to make sure that you're accountable for what you're doing. So it made the officer really think about, okay, I'm not going to do anything out of line. You know what I'm saying? So I won't get caught. And a lot of them, it just depends. Even if you turn the body cam off, and your reports and when you're operating out on the street, they're going to want to know, they're monitored. They're going to know why you turn your body cam off. So the integrity piece of the officers, especially the ones in the movie, it shows that it was a lot of running back and forth for her, trying to make sure that evidence got uploaded to convict those officers, because they did something that pretty much murder. They committed murder. It was illegal. You can't just shoot innocent people. You can't despite if it's a CI or you're going in to get, information, or you're trying to make a deal, or whatever the case may be, however you're doing it, what I'm saying, you shoot in some innocent civilians, that's just, you're going to get caught up. So, integrity goes hand in hand. I mean, this is probably a little extreme. Like I said, it's a movie. It is an action movie. So, but it's just some things I'm pointing out that I want, people that, put on notice that this is stuff that could go on. It might be going on. But again, it's just interesting how media portrays. Again, it's about the media portraying what you're seeing on TV. Also, another one was, it's pretty much the last one, was the loyalty with police officers. So the loyalty to badge. So, a lot of harping on the loyalty aspect as a police officer. So when you join the force and you have a partner in the say, and I mentioned this in the military as well, because when you're in combat, or when you, especially in the Army, Marines, or even, no matter what branch you're in these days, if you're serving in a combat-like environment, you got to trust the people around you. You got to trust your leadership. You got to trust your partners, and in the military, you got your squad leaders. You got your platoon members, wherever the case may be, wherever branch you in, you out there serving, you got partners, you got people that you're with, and they depend on you to be loyal, and they depend on you to be vigilant and aware of what's going on, and depend on you to back them up. Very much so in our law enforcement world, you got a partner, especially riding partners. Some depending on where you work at, if you're an officer, depending on where you live, some New Orleans, and they may have officer partners. I know Atlanta, you ride by yourself. Depends on where you at, LA, New York, depends on what type of law enforcement agency you with. You have partners, so you pretty much y'all doing this together. So if an officer does something that they shouldn't do, that partner wants you to back them up and not, turn the other way. Because again, like it was a particular scenario where Naomi Harris's character, Alicia West, she was riding with a rookie officer, I think Deacon Brown, I think his name was. And she was at a club fight, and those club fights get really vicious, and they happen so often. So you pulling up on the trying to break the fight up, and she was just trying to find out what's going on, and I guess the guy was going to come up. I don't know if he's going to try to shoot her or shoot the guy, and I guess the officer grabbed him. So that's kind of a scenario where you got to trust your partner, because what if he pulled his gun and shot her? You know what I'm saying? That's been another thing. So you got to trust your partners. At the same time, it was the interesting caveat was, the officer was slamming the guy on the hood and, pointing his gun. He put his gun out at him, and you point your gun, and the officer pointed a gun at you. There's no reason for it. You know what I'm saying? The less is needed as an officer. If you pull your gun out, it's got to be a threat. You got to be a reason. You don't pull your gun out just to pull your gun out. Like, again, that's a movie, but it can happen. It probably has happened where the officer pulled out his gun, pointed at the individual, and and it got out of hand. Don't pull your gun unless you need to. So in that case, I disagree with that. Dash cam was on, so it showed the dash cam showing the officer slamming the guy on the hood and pulling his gun out on him, which is, again, can be used against you, depending on the footage. So you just got to be mindful of what you're doing. But in that aspect, the partner relationship has to be established, because what if he didn't watch out for her? What if he didn't catch the guy in time? She might have got shot. So having the loyalty to the badge and loyalty to the partnership is important, because if you're considered, call them dirt bags, in the military, but they consider dirt bags or those who are trash with some of the stuff that they're doing as an officer, you're not going to get a lot of support, and you're not going to get a lot of help, out on the streets. You're going to have a hard time finding someone to work with you because of your reputation, especially if you don't back up your partner, and especially if you don't take care of the police department as a whole. It's going to be very hard to work with you. And it's as hard with rookies as it is. So you're a rookie, and when you're working with, especially veteran police officers, they're very leery working with rookies because they're new and it can become a liability to them unless you're trained or you got a good reputation. So you just got to, as a loyalty to the badge is very important. But again, in this case, integrity. If your partner does something illegal and you have, you need to do the right thing, what is the line being drawn? As an officer, what are you going to do? Are you going to play along with it? Or are you going to not play along with it? It's a lot of different, and integrity is on the line. You got to think about why I became an officer in the first place. When I signed the dotted line, when I put an application in, I had my reasons. I had my purpose of reasons of why I wanted to do it. And I knew that I had to have integrity and morals, and have my motives had to be checked. I had to know I'm going in there to make a difference, or at least try to anyway, versus going in there for other reasons. So when you think of a lot of people apply for these law enforcement jobs, those who are in it or applying to it, got to be mindful why you signed up to wear the badge. It's a lot of work into it, and there's a lot of integrity, a lot of stuff you have to, you're going to be unsupervised, and you're going to be, out there on your own. So you have to have integrity and have your morals intact in order to perform the duties that you need to perform. So that's something I see in the movie. Knowing the difference between right and wrong, and it was like I said, it's a very interesting thing. The emotions when Tyrese's character called the police, and even though they was looking for Naomi Harris's character, the fact that he called the officer, and the officer treated him real bad, put the gun on him, searched him, and and it just, you feel that emotion when especially if you did nothing wrong, especially when you're trying to do the right thing. And the officer has this power trip and pulls his gun out and points it at you. And you saw Tyrese shed a tear, because this is normal, when a youth or African American man or minority and they trying to do the right thing, and they get a gun pulled on them by a police officer, and they get talked too dirty. Plenty of instances where I've heard it, plenty of instances where I've seen it, and it's a definitely emotional experience when you're dealing with an officer pointing a gun on you. So this is why, getting your information, knowing what you got to do, staying calm is key, because you can easily lose your temper, and you can easily it'll be he say, she say, or he say, officer versus civilian in that case of I can shoot you because of what you said nowadays. Not what you say, it's not even what you do. So you just gotta be mindful with officers, as always say, being calm and respectful, but and making sure that you do things legally, get badge numbers, and and just be mindful, get stuff on video, whatever you got to do. But this is an example of the media portraying this picture to the public, about police officers, about African American police officers, and about police officers in general. It builds a stigma to where police officers hate it. And it makes it tough to rebuild something back up when you see movies and shows and video, all types of different sources of media being influenced to hate police. So it's really difficult to build something up when you got to deal with that every day. So that's kind of the key points, man. I pulled out. I mean, it's a good movie. You deal with corruption. I mean, it goes on. I'm not naive to think it doesn't. I hope you're not naive to think that police corruption doesn't go on. Police corruption doesn't go on, but we got to look at the rebuilding community trust aspect. The way the community looks at police, the way the community looks at African American police. This is probably the second film that I've seen like that, where African American police is hard to be one, especially in our communities as a representative, because we think that because we're African American, we will look out for our people, but there's some that don't. There's some that treat African American citizens just as bad as if it was a white police officer do it. There were some white police officers that treat African American citizens better than African American police officers do it. It just depends on where you at, and depends on integrity and the moral base foundation of that cop that that's in the community during that time. So we just gotta really look at the integrity of the person, not the color so much. The movie points out that even though you're African American, you're in the eyes of the citizens, you're still you're pretty much Uncle Tom to them, because you're working with the police, and the agenda, they think the agenda is still the same even though the color is different. And it's not accepted. Instead of saying, hey, I'm not here for that. I'm here to really truly help. I'm just using my authority to make the difference. And I'll still hold you accountable, but I also may help you clean the area and the area up, and help with crime in the area, whatever the case may be. So that movie, like I said again, I like doing these reviews so I can point out different things. That's all I have for that. If you got any questions, you got any comments, if you've seen the movie, you want to add something to what I've done as far as a review, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's definitely it's not in theaters. It's in on Redbox or on demand. You can even buy it, but I encourage those to go check it out and just see what you think about it. What are your thoughts about the movie? And just if you want to leave comments in the comment below. I'm going to post this video on the page. I might post a couple of the videos on the page, just kind of back up some of the stuff I'm saying, as far as the mindsets of our community, because this is what it's about. It's about building. It's about pointing out these things and finding ways can we deal with these issues so we can be a functional community and with police around, and use and build the community back up and empower those to teach, advocate for those that are being treated incorrectly by law enforcement and by others. So that's all I have for the review. I don't want to make this video too long. Just stay tuned for the Facebook Live. Also, Inspirational Quote Wednesdays. I'm going to start this week. I'm going to go back and do another one this week. Try to anyway. Also, don't forget about the podcast, Anchor, Spotify. I posted at least 6 or 7. I'm going to add them on there, including this video. And I got some more stuff to come out. Citizen review boards. I'm going to go ahead and crank that out next and get that out to you very soon. Got some stuff coming up for elections and stuff like that. I'm going to do some coverage on that. Kind of get some people some ideas on how to vote and what to look for as far as our government and judicial system, and just so much stuff in the pipeline that we need to know before we vote. You know what I'm saying? So we need to be mindful of that. And I just got some other material coming down. It's Black History Month, so I'm going to do some stuff on Malcolm X. I've been watching some, I don't know if those been watching a Netflix documentary on him. But I just actually started watching it, and I'm going to really dig in and do some stuff, and I'm going to have my commentary for that as well for Black History Month. So stay tuned for that. So again, if you got any comments, questions, please in the comments below. Check out www.rebuildingcommunitytrust.org. I'm going to do some small updates to it. And don't forget the Rebuilding Community Trust page on Facebook. Going to actually expand this page to more people. So you're going to have plenty of opportunities to look at it. I'm going to post this video. I'm going to post some other stuff on there. And just stay tuned for more. And again, thank you for those who's been listening, rocking with me for this long. Our anniversary is coming up in March for the year of Rebuilding Community Trust. Has been open. It's been running. I appreciate the support for those who's been watching and sharing this stuff. Please share. Please pass this to others so we can get a bigger impact and a bigger people group when it comes to this. So please share it, and thank you, and subscribe. Have a good day.